What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So you guys already know I love to bring people on this channel, especially people that have been to prison in Florida, because I can really relate to that. Obviously, I can't relate to a female prison, but we're going to hear all about it on this episode. So if you haven't, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people at home watching? What's your name and where you're from?
Hey, I'm Mallory. I'm from Florida. I did a 2-year sentence in Florida Department of Corrections.
What was life like for Mallory growing up? Like, the living situation, what'd you go through growing up, and what led you to prison?
Growing up, I had an awesome childhood. I played sports my whole life, volleyball and basketball. From middle school to high school, I had an amazing childhood. I was going to go play volleyball in college, but instead I chose a boy and drugs. Okay. So that's really where my life went downhill.
All right. Well, what made you, like, obviously you had an amazing childhood. What made you use drugs? Was it the guy that you liked? Was he using drugs and then you kind of just followed suit, or how did all that go?
It kind of started, I was 14, it was my freshman year, and my brother was killed on his birthday. And I think that started the downward spiral. And then I was dating this guy come my senior year, and he was a lot older. He was 10 years older than me. So of course he drank and smoked and did all of the things. So that's really, I think, where it started.
All right. And so did it start with like you smoking weed?
No, actually, it was just alcohol and smoking cigarettes. And one party in particular, there was a party every weekend. We called it church. It was on Sundays. And some cocaine showed up. And there it was. So drinking and cocaine.
How long was it before you became an addict? I'm assuming that you obviously had a problem with drugs later on in your life. Oh yeah. When do you think that really grabbed a hold of you and sunk its claws in you?
I think shortly after I graduated. I went to high school in Ohio, and then I moved back to Florida. My mom and dad basically forced me and said, "You're going to college no matter what." So I moved down to Florida where my dad was, and went to community college and was working at a restaurant and bar type thing. And every night it turned into, when we closed, all of us went to the bar next door. And I don't think I went, maybe one night a week I wasn't drinking. And the cocaine use got more and more to where it was all day long. And dropped out of college. That wasn't it was terrible. But then I ended up going to hair school, finished that. That was pretty tough, going to school every day, strung out, but I did it.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
When did you catch some charges that led you to prison? How did all that go down?
Well, the alcohol and the cocaine got, not to be enough anymore, got boring, and it wasn't filling the hole inside of me, I guess you could say. I don't really know. So I met another guy, and he did pain pills, and I immediately was addicted to pain pills, and that quickly turned into heroin. And that was at that point, it was probably about a 13 to 14 year addiction.
So was that back when like all the doctor shopping and shit was going on?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what was that, like 2009, 8, around there?
Yep. So
a lot of people watching this may not know, but in Florida, probably from 2005 to 2010-ish, 11, there was a huge opioid epidemic. Like, there was pill mills on every fucking corner in every fucking town. And it was nothing for someone to go in and leave with 400 pills. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
It really became easy to become addicted because a doctor's giving it to you. It's all good. It's legal. And the next thing you know, like your life is completely in shambles because of the pills. So what did you get caught for that sent you to prison?
Well, the pills started getting expensive. So a regular job wouldn't
Right.
support me at all, barely pay my bills. So then it turned into putting all my bills on credit cards and spending all my cash on pills. And then, of course, heroin's a lot cheaper. So it went to that. So what got me to prison was trafficking stolen property. I was, taking things and pawning them, and that's what did it.
So you were robbing Peter to pay Paul.
PayPal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How long did you end up doing in the Florida Department of Corrections?
I did a 24-month bid.
Okay.
So when they gave me my first offer, it was 24.5 months. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I was like, I'm not taking that. So then they came back with 24.25 months. I'm like, wow,
That's
thanks.
so nice of them.
That was so nice.
All right. So when you got to prison, what prison did you go to first for reception?
The Florida Women's Reception Center in Ocala. It's
Okay.
right across the street from Lowell.
All right. So take me through that. What was that like?
Well, when I was sitting in the county jail, there were a few girls in there that had done prison time, and they were trying to, give me all the tips I needed and the ins and outs. And I was like, oh my gosh. I got there, of course, they wake you up at like 2 a.m. and roll you up and put you down in holding and all that. So actually, I was going with a girl that had just gotten out of prison, and she had caught a PRR. So she
Man.
was giving me like the real deal. Like, this is what's about to happen, girl. I hope you brought the shampoos and conditioners because you could sell them, like all of the things. Because at that county jail, we had nice shampoo and conditioner. So you can sell it for like $30 a bottle. You know what I mean? So she's teaching me how to like do all this stuff. And we got there and we sat in, what is it called? When you get there, we sat there for like, God, 8 hours, and we couldn't slouch, we couldn't sleep, we couldn't talk, we couldn't, and I'm like, what the is going on in this place? Like, I don't think I'm gonna make it 2 years, you know what I mean? And the girl next to me, she was going back for 15. So I was like, I can't really sit here and complain to her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for real, for real.
So I was just going with the flow, and the officers finally, after we did all of our intake stuff, they're like, when we open this door and you walk out on the yard, you guys are going to be fresh meat, and those girls out there are going to get you, and just keep your head down, walk to your dorm. I'm like, oh shit, please don't open the door. You know what I mean? But yeah, so we walked down the yard, and of course all of them were on the fences like, hey, what's up, new girl, you gonna be my wife, all the crazy
So
stuff.
right when you walk into the prison, girls are already trying to hook up with you.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like, everybody is wifed up in there, and oh yeah, you're gonna have a wife unless you stand up for yourself.
So is it like you're pressured into having a wife, or is it like, well, I miss a dude, so I'm gonna go, try to get off with some chicks or whatever? Or is it like, yo, bitch, get down and do your thing on me real quick? Is
It's
it like
actually a
that?
little bit of all of those. Really,
Man, y'all
really.
are
I remember walking
savages,
down
bro.
Center Walk one time, and there was some girls, and they were like, hey, that's Little Mo's wife, da 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 da. And I'm like, you could tell Little Mo to come to 101 Upper, and we'll handle it, because I'm nobody's wife.
Damn. So all right. So what happened? What happened with you with that? You had to fight?
No, she never showed up. But
Yeah. Talking
no,
all that
actually,
gangster shit.
yeah, no, there was actually no fighting for me in prison, because I wanted to go to work release. I wanted to get the hell out of there. So I kept my head down, did what I had to do. I mean, it was hard. It was definitely hard, but
Well, when you were in there, like, what did you see? Like, is there gangs in the women's prisons, or how is it ran? Like, is it more like families?
Yeah, it's definitely no gangs. I met a few girls that would rep, but I think it was more of like their old man was in that gang and they were just trying to be cool. But there's definitely no gangs. And the race thing, not much of that at all, really,
All right.
So.
What did you see as far as violence in there? I know you said you were keeping your head down, but like, did you see violence around you?
Not much. I saw a couple fights, like in the bathroom, locks and socks. I mean, there were girls that walked around with blades in their mouth, but really it was all talk. Everybody was talk, not much action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's crazy though, because in men's prison in Florida, like shit's popping off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine all those females in one spot and nothing's going down like crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
What did you see as far as like correctional officers getting into relationships with inmates?
Ooh. I know I used to flirt with one of them in particular, but there was a lot of girls trying to get the attention of the officers. I was told that like when you go to jail within the prison, the box.
Yeah, the box.
There's a couple cells where there's steel doors and all that, and some inmates were getting raped by the officers. And right when I left for work release, I heard that there were 7 females that got pregnant from.
What prison was this at?
That was at Lowell.
Yeah, that's like in the papers and shit. For a lot of officers are getting arrested from that prison for doing that shit.
Yeah.
So what was the officer you were flirting with? How did all that go down?
Yeah, I just always like when you would walk by and count, I'd be like, hey, Mr. I don't know if I want to say his name.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Every time I saw him, I would just like say something. It never went anywhere at all. He would be like, "Shut up, Cooper." Stuff like that. Yeah,
well, that didn't work out for you then.
No. I don't want a boyfriend that's a cop either, I guess. So
when you were getting closer to getting out, you obviously made work release, right?
Yes.
All right. So where did you do work release at?
I went to the Orlando Work Release Center. I don't know the technical name for it, but right in Orlando, because that's where my family is from. So I was able to be close to them and they could come see me at work and stuff like that. I had a really good job during work release. I worked at Chili's and I quickly started bartending. My Sarge let me bartend. She just told me to be quiet. But, I was dropping $300 in her pocket a night. So she really didn't want to stop me from doing that.
Makes sense. When you got to work release, when you look back on your time in prison, I know you said you went through like 10 years of addiction and shit was rough. And what did you learn from prison on how to not get out and get high again? Did you learn anything for that?
No, there were drugs in there. Obviously I've heard that there's a lot more in the men's prisons, but there was some floating around in there. I didn't partake in any of that, but I also didn't learn how to get my addiction under control at all. So
did you learn anything when you were in prison? If you could pick one thing, what would you say it was that you learned from your time in prison?
To make my bed every morning. That's really the, okay. That's it.
So when you got out of work release, what did you have a setup? Did you have somebody to go stay with? Like, how did all that go down?
The day I walked out, well, while you're in work release, you have 2 accounts. You have a spendable account and a savings account. So the day you walk out, I believe it was my savings account that I got. So there was like a little over $3,000 on my debit card. So I got an apartment, paid to get my license back and got a car and all that. And then a couple weeks later, I got my spendable account, which was also, I think it was almost $4,000. So I was pretty set up when I walked out.
You were making some money in work release.
And I kept my job. So I was doing my thing for a little bit. I was staying sober. And then one day it all came crashing down. So.
All right. So what happened with that? How did that go down?
I linked up with an old friend that I had met in the county jail, and I let her move into my townhouse. And I started letting some of the girls from the work release center, when they EOS, I would let them stay for a couple weeks, throw me a few bucks and I'll let you stay, all that. So, but the best friend, well, not best friend, I don't know why I just said that. The friend, she uses not heroin or anything, she uses meth, but that's where it started. I did a little bit with her and I was like, and then it went right back to heroin.
Take it now you're not doing heroin, you're not doing meth?
Nope. Tomorrow will be 8 months that I've been clean. So
well, that's good, because it's not easy for people, I mean, firsthand.
Yeah, never in my life did I think that I would have 5 minutes clean. And now tomorrow I'll have 8 months. And it's a whole new feeling. Like the times before, I was like being forced to get clean, you know what I mean? By either the law or my parents, but it didn't last at all, ever.
Yeah, you gotta want to do it for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I have a 5-year-old daughter, that it sucks to say, but even having her, heroin was still my number one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can admit that now. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is, so.
Well, hey, I appreciate you being so open about it. If somebody's female's watching this and they're like stuck in drug addiction, or they're could be headed to prison, they're living that life. I mean, you and I know what that life is. What would you say to them? Like if you looked back on your life when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, what would you tell yourself now that you've already went through all that?
Girl, it ain't worth it. No high in this world is worth losing your life over, losing your freedom over, losing your family over. It's not. Do your damn thing. Get a job, pay your bills, live life. Life is so beautiful. And I can say I've never in my life said that life was beautiful, ever. I hated life.
Yeah.
I hated people. I was a miserable person, and that is no way to live. No way.
Yeah. Well, listen, I just wanted to thank you for coming on the channel and sharing your story. Hopefully somebody watching this can relate, and, from hearing your story, they can say, yeah, she's right. I'm going to stop doing the shit I'm doing. So I really appreciate you coming on and, being open about stuff that, like you said, was embarrassing, but hey, it is what it is. So you just got to keep it real. But if anybody watching this, if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you turn on your post notifications on all. So every time we drop an episode, you can hear it first. And with that, it's DOC TV, and we're out.